G'day folks, it's Rob from the Doctor Who Show here, and look, there's been some fun and games in fandom in the last little while, with two former showrunners, Chris Chibnall and Steven Moffat, both commenting on whether they would return to Doctor Who in the new iteration of the series under Russell T Davies. Chris Chibnall, for example, very definitive in saying, "Oh my god, I've only just finished. I've been across 31 episodes for the last 5 years of my life. I've just got out, finished it last October. There's no prospect of that whatsoever." Very definitive there from Chris, and I think a good portion of fandom cheering that quote on, if I can be so bold. Moffat, meanwhile, had a much more interesting quote. And why don't we just play you a clip of this?
It would be a bit, career madness, even by my standards, to go back into a junior capacity on a show I used to run. I would have to be insane to do that.
So there you go. On the face of it, while he's saying he won't do it, or giving you the impression he won't do it, I think saying, oh, look, I'd be insane to go back and do a show I was formerly showrunner of and, becoming a junior. I think the language he's using is quite deliberate so that if he does do Doctor Who in the near future, he can say, well, of course, I am insane. Ta-da, surprise, I'm back, and all of that. I think it's a good way to hedge his bets, which makes it very interesting that a story has just dropped in the Mirror over in the UK. Exclusive, Steven Moffat set for Doctor Who return as Russell T Davies asks for new episodes. The article describes how RTD is back in charge, and a source said, "Russell's on a mission to make Doctor Who great again. Event television not to be missed, which is what it was for many years during his and Steven's tenures in charge of the show." Ooh, burn, Chris. One of the ways he can do that is to ensure he has the best possible people writing for the program. He has nothing but respect for what Steven achieved with the show and was a fan of his vision as showrunner. He approached him about returning in just a writing capacity because he knows Doctor Who inside out and has a brilliant imagination for adventures in space and time. He took some convincing, but the chance to contribute to a show he has loved since childhood and see it blossom in a new era with a new Doctor was just too much to resist. Now, I think this is great news. I think this is brilliant news. I have said many times on the Doctor Who show, Steven Moffat is the best writer that modern Doctor Who has had. I don't think he's the best showrunner. I think RTD is the best showrunner, but I think Moffat is the best writer. And this to me just sounds great. Get Moffat back each series to do a story. That's brilliant. Like he used to do back in the RTD era originally on the show. His stories were the best of those series, hands down. But, of course, the crazies are now out of the woodwork. You can find plenty of people on Twitter saying, oh no, we don't want that. We don't want to go back to the past. We don't want Moffat back again. I think to myself, do you people hear yourselves? Do you seriously stop and read what you're saying and really think about what you're saying? You're saying we don't want the greatest modern Doctor Who writer back writing on the show. If this was the 1970s and Bob Holmes had just finished script editing, could you imagine 1970s fans saying to Bob Holmes, oh, look, sorry, Bob, you've had your time. We don't want you to write for the show again. And then we don't get, stories like Case Vendrazzani and things like that he wrote afterwards, Just bonkers. Fortunately, fandom seemed to be a lot more sensible in the 70s than some of these pockets of fandom you come across today, where they will say these crazy, crazy things like, oh no, we don't want Steven Moffat writing for the show. We don't want the best writer writing for the show. God, no. What a horrible idea. Can you believe it? Anyway, I guess that's Doctor Who fandom in a nutshell in the 2020s. It's going to be an interesting time during the RTD years. It seems nothing he does these days makes some fans happy. But they're the crazies. Those of us who are here for it, those of us who are here for the RTD era, who are here for Steven Moffat writing again, if indeed this story comes true, and all of that good stuff, are going to have a really good time. And those of you who are sitting out there thinking, oh no, we don't want Moffat writing again, and oh gosh, it's just terrible having RTD back at all. As I've said in other videos, go outside, get some exercise, walk the dog. Take a deep breath. There's more to life than this. Anyway, on that note, I'll see you next time on The Doctor Who Show.